I want to give a huge thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Therapy isn't something to run away from, it's a vessel to run towards. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service and it's 100% online, so break out your comfies. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time. Anytime. And schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. No more fumbling to get a session on the calendar. You schedule based on when the time is right for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. Therapy changed my life for the better. Pun intended. And with BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Rocky. That's betterhelp.com/Rocky. In middle school, I had this friend named Tess. Tess had cool parents, a redhead dad with some swag who always called me hungry girl because I was so skinny. Let me assure you, I ate. And not in the way people say ate today. I ate like I ate a lot of food. I just had the metabolism of a gazelle and the bone structure of Jack Skellington. And in hindsight, he shouldn't have been saying that to me. But he was a good guy, and the late 90s, early 2000s were a toxic time for all of us. Tess's stepmom loved country music. My mom loves rock and roll, and my dad loves R&B, so nobody in my house was bumping Tim McGraw. Plus, I think there are a lot of stigmas around country, especially then. I killed my husband with a brick, 'cause he was being a dick, and I'm better off without the prick. My wife's a 10 and so's her friend. I banged 'em both and I'd do it again. Yeehaw! A lot of people would agree that that's their idea of what country music is if they weren't exposed to it. But like I said, Tess's stepmom loved country. And she was young and cool and honestly the big sister of someone in our class, so essentially she was giving big sister energy more than stepmom energy. When we would hang out, she would drive us around and play country songs, but she would always say, listen for the story. Country music always tells a beautiful story, a tale. And she was right. It was so much more than shotguns and beer brawls. It was poetic storytelling with a fun twang. And a song would end and we'd say, play another one, play another one. And we'd sit in the car crying and laughing and eventually singing along and requesting our favorites. Looking back now, through the eyes of a woman who now values an hour or two of peace, where I can just listen to a little music, I get why she needed those country music drives. And in honor of country music, I'm going to give you my interpretation of Cowboy Carter. Frankly, I think the album has something for everyone, but I'm not everyone. So it would be audacatory of me to attempt to speak for everyone. Anywho, let's ride. American Requiem. Let's start with the commanding intro. First lyric. Nothing really ends. For things to stay the same, they have to change again. Seems like a very obvious statement, right? Almost has the similar swagger of a fortune cookie. It makes me not look at time so linearly. Instead, it makes me view time as before the big change and after the big change. Someone will name a year anyway, trying to reference something that happened from the past, and you still have to name the big event or big change to jog their memory of what you're talking about. The years start to blend together. Time and numbers is just a more universal metric to understand change and significance and when stuff is supposed to happen and has happened. I think there are other layers to the song, though. While I was listening to it, I was in the park. It looked like a set of grandparents and their daughter, and then their daughter's daughter, their granddaughter. You know how family structures work. And yes, for purposes of this story, I'm assuming everyone's relationship to each other. Then, to my left, a group of friends, maybe early to mid-20s. They have a little table, a grill, they're sharing modest laughs. It's very wholesome. Actually, two very wholesome scenes. Now, the family, they're quietly chattering. The adults, and I don't know their life. Maybe something real is going on, or maybe they just all figured out that they're up to date on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Because yes, it was Next Level that Kathy Hilton came out and admitted she doesn't watch any of the season, and then came to read everyone on stage for filth who considered themselves a part of the Dewey Decimal System. Maybe that's what the family on the blanket to my right were so heavily engaged in that they missed their daughter and granddaughter flinging around this circular plastic toy that they themselves would have had to pack, and the child is roaming around the park. She's flinging this toy and seeing where it lands, and as that child should. You can tell this kid is coming from a place where they feel safe enough to run around the park on a beautiful day throwing a plastic toy with no danger lurking. That is pure innocence, and no fault should come to the kid. Especially in America. I mean, not to digress, but the beauty of social media is it's exposing these men stealing the innocence of children all over the country. So shout out to that little girl for feeling safe in a public place in a world that isn't very safe. Bottom line is the kid is doing nothing wrong. Her mom and her grandparents, however, they're on cloud 9 with their conversation, not paying any attention to the kid. So the toy hits a group of friends once. This causes the mother to get up, look alive. She gives a polite-ish wave to the group and feigns interest with the little girl in the toy. The little girl then throws the toy again, and this time it hits one of the people in the friend group in the back. Again, they react politely and they return the toy. Then the toy comes barreling at me, which I was ready for because you know your girl stays on swivel. I throw the toy back and I say, "It's okay, it's all right." Now this is when the little girl innocently throws the toy again, and it hits the friend group again. Now, one of the friends firmly, but not ego-driven or confrontational, one could say covered in peace and love, y'all, says to the mom, maybe you should have her throw it over there where you're sitting. And there's a big, huge empty space right by you where no one else is sitting. You know, the space you chose? Because she's throwing that in the middle of a bunch of people, and you've let her hit us 3 times now with no explanation on why it's wrong. You're not explaining why slamming us with a frisbee-like toy is a problem to your kid, but I'm telling you it's a problem and it's interrupting our day. And it doesn't have to. There's a big empty space right by where you're sitting. The mother looked to me like she was looking for more oomph, more fight, but she didn't get it. She got someone being matter-of-fact about how the woman's actions as an adult were wrong and failing the general community. But all hope is not lost. We will rebuild. Stop raining on our parade, lady. Just throw the frisbee thing over there. This caused the woman to walk away, and guess what? The grandparents got up, and the mom stayed standing, and the 3 adults paid attention to that little girl while she threw that toy in the big empty space by where they were sitting. They acted like her fence, which in a park full of strangers, the 3 of them should have been doing the entire time, respectfully. American Requiem. Maybe it's about telling colonizing people, hey, you have all that room to play and make a life in precious moments, and you can do that not where people are existing. Why are you so obsessed with stomping on my shit? Amen. The next one was a Blackbird cover full of beautiful black country singers, Raina Roberts, Tanner Adele, Brittany Spencer, and Tiara Kennedy. The harmonies were gorgeous, and the rendition itself is just beautiful. One thing I like to do if I like a song by an artist that I don't really know is I'll take the time to listen to their entire album. Usually, I can tell within the first minute if I like the song or not. But either way, maybe by the end of the album, I've got 2 or 3 songs to keep the rotation fresh. My plan is to check out all 3 of their albums. And you should too, cowpersons. 16 Carriages is the 3rd song on the album. Now, I could listen to this song on repeat over and over and over again because I can feel that it was written from the depths of the soul of a traveling artist. It's rumored to be about her life on tour, which would make perfect sense. She paints the picture of her parents when she was little and how she essentially spent her entire life on the road. My favorite line is, "I might cook clean but still won't fold." It's a universal line if you fold your own laundry. I don't want to say everyone hates folding their laundry because I know there's some people out there like, I love folding my delicates. But for the majority of people, I would say, you get it. You look at that pile of laundry and you're like, this is hell. And if you're chasing your dream, you really, really get the line. No one has to feel sorry for Beyonce. She's living her dream. And you could say she's living an artist's dream at full capacity. She's beautiful, she can sing, she can dance, she's beloved by a good chunk of the world. People worship and respect her. As far as we know, she calls a lot of shots in her life. But even if all that's true, that doesn't make the pressure of her level of fame easy. And you can't be mad at her when you, the people, the general people, put her on this pedestal. You can't put her on this level and then be angry when she takes a private plane. Honestly. You've been to America, right? This place is dangerous for regular-ass people. This place is dangerous for a woman who decided to put a little bit of mascara on when she walked out of the house to feel good. You think Beyonce could just walk the streets or take a plane? People do insane, crazy things to non-famous people. So again, if the general you is going to put somebody on a pedestal in this way, you can't expect them not to protect themselves. It's unsafe for regular people to do stuff. You think Beyonce can walk into a goddamn Baskin Robbins? Come on. I see 16 Carriages as duality. The joy and the love of living your dream and the resentment of living your dream. She also says the line, legacy, you'll remember me if it's the last thing I do. And guess what? Now, for the rest of your life, you're going to remember me if it's the last thing I do. Protector is a beautiful song about how she'll be her children's protector forever and ever for the rest of her life and how she's born to be their mother. Shout out to my mom for being my protector and my projector always. But I skip this song because it gives me a lump in my throat. And I don't need a lump in my throat on a regular Monday. If you need a good cry, this is Halo Part 2. My Rose is a little interlude but also lullaby love song, and I would guess it's a self-love song. Maybe she sings it to herself in the mirror. It's a great affirmation chant, and it's sing-songy. I love sing-songy. Normalize putting interludes on the radio. A 1-minute song palette cleanser. Great change of pace. And then there's another interlude, Smoke Hour, Willie Nelson. You hear somebody changing country music radio stations in a really old-timey way. Then you hear the flick of a lighter, and Willie Nelson introduces his radio show, The Smoke Hour. Can I just say, here on Wild Nights, we've been celebrating and keeping Willie Nelson in the dialogue since 2021, okay? So Beyonce, I see you, and imitation is the highest form of flattery. Yes, it is all love, and yes, I am honored. And that Smoke Hour with Willie Nelson being the lead into Texas Hold'em gave Texas Hold'em a whole new feel for me. It reinvigorated it. It's catchy, it's random, it's a group dance, pop, country. It's like the Cupid Shuffle and Love on Top had a baby. But that baby was raised by Betty White and the OJs. Does that make sense? I heard a rumor on TikTok that the song Bodyguard, Taylor Swift is the one singing, ooh, ooh. Did that sound just like Taylor Swift? That was my best Taylor Swift. But she's doing it anonymously. And honestly, hearing it, I cannot unhear Taylor Swift's voice. It's gotta be her. And I think that's really fun. They're both on fire right now, on top of the world in the music industry. And honestly, I'm surprised they didn't link up for a song. Maybe they're worried it'll be subpar, but Bodyguard is anything but subpar. And I really think it's Taylor. Listen and see if you think it's Taylor. When I first heard Jolene, I heard it without the Dolly intro that she does in the beginning. And I thought, oh my God, clutch my pearls. What is Dolly gonna think of this version? It's so sassy. But then I listened to the whole album, and of course, like I mentioned, we get this Dolly intro to Jolene, and it's the most on-brand intro you could possibly give. Perfect lead-in into the song. Azalea Banks was quoted saying, Who is this imaginary adversary that she thinks still wants to be involved with Jay-Z in 2024? She needs to change the subject. Nobody, and I mean nobody, finds him attractive, end quote. Way harsh, Ty. I think A, it would have been unexciting to do the OG version. Dolly's version is fire. But for Beyonce's new album, a regular cover wouldn't suffice. Even if nobody, and she means nobody, finds Jay-Z attractive in 2024, wow. By the way, I plead the fifth because I don't want to say Jay-Z is unattractive because that feels mean for no reason. And he may be listening to the show. I heard he listens to the show. How does that look for my numbers out here hurting Jay-Z's feelings while he's trying to enjoy his day? And also, I plead the fifth because I love my life and I heard the next song after Jolene. And you're right, B. I don't want that heat. Daughter is a song following Jolene, and it's a recap of what I imagine happens if Jolene keeps up the nonsense. Is this song a fantasy or a confession? A friend of mine called it psychotic. I thought that was hilarious. It's a play-by-play of a murder with opera roped in. Oh. Okay, saying it out loud, I just figured it out. She's painting the picture of an opera. Okay, good job. Mission accomplished. Because I listened to the song and I'm watching a story be played out in my head. Okay, fine. Good job, Beyonce. You're right. This is an opera. Wow, we got there together. Cool. Spaghetti has to be my favorite song on the album. She raps in the beginning with so many gritty one-liners. It makes me wanna dance with a stank face and combat boots. Bang, bang! Then the vibe changes. And Shabuzi takes over the end of the song, and the ending blends into the next song, which is Alligator Tears. Which I only thought crocodiles had tears, so it's also an educational album. I know I said Spaghetti was my favorite song, but this song actually is because it makes me want to be riding shotgun in the desert with some sexy cowboy in a cowboy hat, top down, and miraculously all of a sudden I can sing beautifully, and I'm singing this song, and we're in black and white, maybe sepia. And there's tumbleweeds rolling by, and he's in a tight white tee, and we just robbed a bank, and I'm in Daisy Dukes, and my hair is blowing in the wind, but behind me, not in my mouth. And then you hear coyotes over the revving of the engine, and if you see me listening to this song in public, mind your goddamn business. I'm checked out, doggy. Willie Nelson's Smoke Hour is back. He's telling his friends that may not listen to Beyonce, let me put you on game. And he introduces Just for Fun. Don't let the title fool you. This song is not about fun. It's raw and it's bittersweet and it's courageous. She says, I just need to get through this or get used to it. And Willie Jones pops in a duet, and after hearing Willie Jones's voice, he may be the one driving in my previous fantasy, you feel me? This song is giving 90s Triumph movie. Now I know I told you my favorite song on the album, but Two Most Wanted is my favorite song on the album. Miley, Beyonce, power ballad. Okay, if we revisit the Alligator Tears car fantasy, maybe this song is me holding him after our next bank heist, and he got shot in the chest by rival bank robbers, and it's a whole dramatic scene, and he's wearing that white tee so the blood is everywhere, and I'm saying, but Terrence, you gotta pull through. Remember we were gonna eat crab cakes in Maryland. You never had the crab cakes, Terrence. And then he dies in my arms, and I get arrested in a blaze of glory with my head held high. And as they're walking me to the cop car in cuffs, I look over my shoulder one last time, and I mouth forever. Because that's what me and Terrence used to say. Instead of I love you, we would say forever. Then a montage of our love story, then me in jail, eating a crab cake for a special occasion. Camera pans to the calendar. It's March 9th, 2054, National Crab Day. And March 9th is also Terrence's birthday. A tear runs down my cheek, and a soft smile ends the movie. Wow, I am back. A Miley and Beyonce duet will take you there every time. Levi jeans with Post Malone is so sexy and free and fun. And how much did Levi's pay Beyonce to write and sing this song, I wonder? Also, I don't actively listen to Post Malone, but every track I hear him on I love, so maybe I'm a fan in training. A pre-Malone. Flamenco is another poetic, romantic, simple, while being complex interlude song, and it has little pitter-patters in it. And if there's one thing I love, it's a song full of pitter-patters. She reminds people that you don't know what you got until it's gone. And ironically, I could see this song being in a Levi's commercial more than the Levi's jeans song. Linda Martell does the Linda Martell Show interlude introducing the next song. Who is Linda Martell? The first commercially successful black female country music artist and the first to play the Grand Ole Opry. Lucky Beyonce to get her on the album. The song she introduces is Yeah Yeah, which is my favorite song on the album. It's a mixture of Beyonce. It's a mixture of These Boots Are Made for Walking. It's a mixture of Good Vibrations. She purposefully blends all these genres because she can. Oh, Louisiana is another interlude, and I love all these interludes, and it sounds like Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks is singing this, which is great for some reason. I guess Alvin did have a lot of bangers back in the day, so it makes sense that she would use him. I mean, I don't know if it's the real Alvin, but it sounds like Alvin. It makes me wish I was in New Orleans. Short and sweet, just like the next song, Desert Eagle. She is really appealing to the short attention span TikTok generation. I see you evolving with and for the people, Beyonce. And if I may be frank, this song is about her busting a nut after getting gone down on. I am never thinking about writing a song during that time. I'm usually thinking, damn, that was a lot of pineapple juice. Riverdance, another song about busting nuts, bouncing on boners, and a load in the face, but make it art. Two Hands to Heaven, she sings about drinking whiskey, but I pegged her for a Chardonnay gal. This song seems like a song written for the future, if that makes sense. But it also might be a confession of sorts. I don't know. It's very mysterious. Tyrant is another song with Dolly. She's back, baby. One of the lyrics is, I don't want him back, but I can't let go, which I advise you to just let go. It doesn't feel like a country song, but it does feel like an absolute banger. I can't tell if she's talking about herself or another man-stealer. It's very interestingly written. I feel like there can be a bunch of interpretations of this. Sweet Honey Bucking feels like this perfect end of the album song. Shabuzi is back, and he has a line where he says, "You want smoke, I'm the Marlboro Man," which is so fucking witty. Ask me for a lighter. Go ahead. Ask me for a lighter. You want smoke? I'm the Marlboro Man. Even if I don't say it out loud, in my head, just know I'm saying, you want smoke? I'm the Marlboro Man. But I'll probably say it out loud. You get it, right? Amen is very churchy. I feel like this is a big apology for any wrongdoing she may have done. Then she takes it back and gives a bow and a nod by weaving American Requiem back in. She puts a bow on the whole album. This album will likely go down as one of the greatest albums of all time. Cool we're alive for that American history.
It's time for
Duh. Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello! Did you have a good week? I sure hope so. If you live in the tri-state area, you likely got rocked by the Great Quake of 2024. Unless you're me, who missed the quake, like Mr. Bean misses every calamity that comes his way. That's right, I went to the grocery store, I came home, and within 7 minutes, I looked down at my phone and I had 89 texts. 89! So I guess the local grocery store and outside are the safest zones. Then I was on the subway for the aftershock, so I missed that. Do I want the trauma of an earthquake? I think, no. I'm good, you know? Everyone is out here telling their earthquake survival stories, and I was in the avocado aisle. It's embarrassing. The eclipse came and went, but the energy leading up to the eclipse was zany. I'll tell you that much. It was zany. I was in Manhattan outside Bryant Park, famous park. Beautiful park, a must-visit park. My friend and I are standing outside Bryant Park because it's after hours, so they keep the lights on but the gates up. And who pays for that? Hard-working New Yorkers and their tax dollars, that's who. It's the epitome of who left these goddamn lights on all night. While my friend and I are outside this well-lit park, smoking a J and decompressing about our days, it's a joyful, laughing confab, if you will. And what happens is something that always happens to me. Strange entities think it's okay to invade my personal space and ask me for something. On the one hand, I'm flattered that they find my energy so inviting that they have to interrupt my conversation to insert themselves in my life for a hot minute. On the other hand, it's like, ew, get away from me. So these two people come up to us, a guy and a girl, a couple. And they're young, I'd say 18 to 22. They were giving Gen Z's version of I don't back to Santeria, if that makes sense. And the guy says, excuse me, sorry to bother you, but can I ask you a weird favor? First of all, no. How about never ask me a weird favor? Do you mind taking a picture of us? But both of our phones are dead, so you have to text it to us so we get it later. Your phones are dead? Both of them? And your priority is getting a picture taken right now? How are you going to get home, sir? I don't know what the hell kind of 2020 Murder, She Wrote, Law and Order, snapped kind of ring you're running over here. But I will not be sending a picture of two people I don't know to a phone number I don't know. That won't be happening, Cap'n. My friend, so high, so innocent, almost as if he hasn't lived in New York for 15 years. Says, where are you from? My man, where are you from? Why are you engaging? Can you not feel their weird energy? How about we not take a picture of the bootleg Bonnie and Clyde who has no belongings and who now, thanks to you, we know live in Rockland County? I respond, no, we can't. We're in the middle of a serious conversation. They left and continued on with what I can only imagine is a weird murder scavenger hunt. Listen to my last episode and get in tune with your own energy, because I'm telling you, you'll be able to pick up on weird vibes. And then you can send them packing. A lot of conspiracy theorists are saying that it's weird that the earthquake was 4.8 and that the eclipse happened at 4.8. And then the eclipse happened, and then guess what? No portals were opened. There was no announcement telling everybody in the public areas like, okay, the eclipse is happening right now. We all just had to keep putting our glasses up and down, up and down. But I think it's fun to believe stuff. People want the weird. We can't help it. I will say the eclipse was cool. We didn't get full totality, but I heard that people who did get full totality, that ruled. For us, it was just a fun eclipse memory. A reason to sit in the park and smoke weed. That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stone thoughts of the week. Number 1. Hey, everybody who acts like people should know something, and I'm not talking something you told somebody that they're supposed to remember. I'm talking like a weird fact. Can you just remember that we're all on our own journeys? So instead of being like, you didn't know this thing, just be like, oh, you didn't know this thing. Well, I'm happy to tell you, because it makes you so much less of an asshole, and in turn, the world a brighter place. Don't you want to make the world a brighter place? Number 2, if BC is before Christ and AD is after death, are the years 0 through 33 DC? Number 3, Alexa is basically just the clapper, but with your mouth. And number 4, I really miss when movies would come out and they would have entire soundtracks dedicated to that movie. I mean, songs specifically written with the theme of the plot in mind. What a thoughtful time that was. Please tune in next week as I recap A Wild Night Story from longtime listener Kyle. It's going to be a real doozy. And also remember, if you have a Wild Night story that you want retold on Wild Nights, you can email me at wildnightswithrocky@gmail.com or DM me. You got Instagram. In the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me at Wild Nights with Rocky on TikTok and Instagram, at Wild Nights Pod on Twitter. You can also subscribe on YouTube if you'd like to support the show in that way. And if you want to support the show with your wallets, you can join my Patreon for $2 or $5 a month. A big thank you and a future thank you to everyone who's written and everyone who will write a review when this episode is over on Apple Podcasts. It really does make a difference. And until next time, stay wild.